Isabella stood in the walk-in closet, her fingers brushing gently over the burgundy silk dress. The cool touch of the silk spread from her fingertips, and the subtle patterns on the hem flowed in the morning light, like crushed sunset glow. It was a birthday gift from Marcus last year. Back then, he'd wrapped his arm around her waist, murmuring by the fireplace that the color made her look like the Tuscan dusk, warm enough to melt any ice. "Should I really go?" she whispered to her reflection in the full-length mirror, her fingers unconsciously caressing the pressed folds of the skirt. The woman in the mirror wore a flawless makeup, but her eyes held a weariness that even concealer couldn't hide. This, company team building, trip to Tuscany was her last attempt, planned over a month. She wanted to find the man who'd kissed the wine stain off her fingertips during a picnic 3 years ago. Her phone suddenly lit up, and a message from Marcus popped up, concise and cold: "Meeting delayed. I'll meet you all directly at the parking lot." No greeting, no tone, like a frigid work notice. Isabella tossed the phone into her suede handbag. The clink of the metal clasp against her lipstick tube sounded sharp and jarring. Downstairs, the sound of suitcase wheels rolling across the marble floor echoed. Her housekeeper Sophia was helping load the picnic basket she'd prepared, lined with cream linen. It held Marcus's favorite black truffle sauce, handmade pasta, and a 1982 Chianti. It was a wedding anniversary gift from her uncle last year, and Marcus had held the bottle, saying he'd save it for a most special moment. "Madam, shall I put the sunscreen in your carry-on?" Sophia asked from the staircase, her voice as steady as ever. She wore a khaki casual outfit today, a departure from her usual dark uniform. Isabella remembered it was her mother's favorite style before she passed. Isabella shook her head. "I'll do it myself." She paused, her tone carrying an unspoken hesitation. "Marcus said he'll go straight to the parking lot." Sophia's eyebrows furrowed almost imperceptibly, a flash too quick to confirm, then smoothed. "Shall I tell the driver to warm up the car in advance?" "No, I'll drive today." Isabella picked up the car keys from the entryway cabinet, the metals cold seeping into her palm. She'd arranged this on purpose. She wanted to take control of this redemption journey, just as she'd once thought she could control her marriage. In the parking lot, colleagues from the marketing department were already gathered in small groups. Andre, the CFO, waved at her with a hearty smile. "ISA, the route you picked is amazing. My wife heard we're going to Siena and insisted I bring back handmade chocolates." As he drew closer, he lowered his voice. "If your mother hadn't anonymously funded my business degree, I'd still be an accountant in a small town. Anything you need this trip, just say the word." A warmth touched Isabella's heart, and she was about to respond when she saw Marcus's black Mercedes pull into the lot. The passenger door opened, and Lena stepped out in stiletto heels, her platinum hair shimmering brightly in the sun. The cream camisole dress she wore was almost identical to one in Isabella's closet, the very style Marcus had said didn't suit your elegant temperament and never gave her last month. "Sorry, everyone," Marcus said, closing the car door casually. "Lena knows the Tuscany route well, so I asked her to be our guide last minute." His gaze swept over the crowd, lingering on Isabella for less than a second, like glancing at an irrelevant decoration. Sophia leaned in quietly behind her. "Madam, when I helped Lena load her luggage earlier, I caught a glimpse of her medical card. It says she's allergic to penicillin." Isabella's fingers tightened, but she said nothing, only watching as Lena smiled and waved her phone. "I've even marked all the hidden gems, guaranteed to make sure everyone has the time of their lives." As she spoke, she leaned subtly closer to Marcus, their arms almost touching. A chill slid down Isabella's spine, and she felt her blood nearly freeze. She remembered a late night last month, hearing soft laughter from the study. When she pushed the door open, Marcus had hurriedly closed his laptop, and in the screen's reflection, she'd seen Lena's WeChat avatar faintly. "That's thoughtful," she heard her own voice say, as if from far away. Her nails dug into her palm, the sharp pain keeping her alert. Andre leaned over, whispering, "Are you okay? You look pale. Probably didn't sleep well last night." Isabella forced a smile. "I'll go check the car." She slid into the driver's seat and cranked up the air conditioning. The cold wind rushed at her, but it couldn't dispel the gloom in her heart. In the rearview mirror, Marcus was leaning down to listen to Lena, a gentle smile on his face that he hadn't shown her in ages, a smile that had once belonged only to her. "Madam?" Sophia tapped on the window. "Everyone's ready." Isabella took a deep breath and turned the key. As the engine roared to life, she told herself, "This is the last time. If even Tuscany's sun can't melt the ice between them, it's time to wake up for good." As the convoy pulled out of the parking lot, Lena's bright yellow sports car followed closely behind Marcus's Mercedes, like a glaring warning sign, a constant reminder of the betrayal unfolding before her eyes. Isabella gripped the steering wheel until her knuckles turned white. In the back seat, the Chianti bottle clinked softly with the bumps in the road, a hollow sound that mocked her naivety. "Take the third exit on the right." Lena's voice came over the car intercom, laced with deliberate coquetry. "I know a shortcut that saves half an hour." Marcus replied immediately, "Listen to the guide." His tone was unusually light, as if he'd shed some burden. Isabella's stomach twisted sharply. She pressed the intercom button, her voice sharper than she'd intended. "Sticking to the original plan via the A1 highway is safer. The provincial roads have too many curves, they're dangerous." There was a 2-second silence on the intercom, then Marcus's voice turned cold. "Lena was just in Tuscany last month, she knows better than any of us." Andre suddenly chipped in, "I checked the navigation, and there really is a provincial road that saves time." His tone held tentative mediation, and at the same time, he sent Isabella a text, "I've shared the location with the legal team. They said the financial investigation unit will arrive in 2 hours." Isabella bit her lower lip, reading the text and feeling a faint sense of calm. The Chianti bottle clinked again in the back seat, as if echoing Marcus's mockery. She suddenly wanted to hurl the carefully prepared picnic basket out the window, just like throwing away this long frayed marriage. "Suit yourselves," she said, releasing the intercom button. Her nails left faint half-moon indentations on the leather steering wheel. As the convoy exited the highway, Lena's sports car accelerated to the front. The sunlight reflected off its body, dazzling Isabella's eyes. She glanced at Sophia and noticed the housekeeper quietly taking a small glass vial from her bag, dabbing something onto the rim of the Chianti bottle. "What's that?" "Penicillin capsule powder," Sophia said softly, "just a small amount, enough to cause a mild allergic reaction, nothing life-threatening. It'll buy you some time." Isabella said nothing, only turning back to the road. She knew there was no going back now. "Madam, would you like some water?" Sophia handed her a thermos, with 2 lemon slices floating on the surface. The fresh scent dispelled some of the stuffiness in the car. Isabella shook her head, her gaze falling on a vineyard that suddenly appeared by the road. Lena's voice came over the intercom again, tinged with pride, "This winery's Reserve Chianti is famous, Marcus is sure to love it." Isabella suddenly rolled down the window. Hot wind mixed with dust rushed in, making Sophia cough. How did she know Marcus's favorite was Chianti? The thought coiled around her heart like a venomous snake, squeezing the breath out of her. The convoy began climbing a hill, and the road grew rough. The tableware in the picnic basket clinked, and Isabella suddenly remembered her wedding trip, picnicking with Marcus on the outskirts of Tuscany. The wind had been strong that day, and he'd accidentally knocked over a wine glass, spilling deep red liquid onto her white dress. He'd laughed and kissed the stain off her fingertips, saying, "Now this is a one-of-a-kind memory. Turn left up ahead." Lena's voice jolted her from the memory. Isabella narrowed her eyes at the car's GPS. The screen showed only a fork leading to a private estate, marked in red, "Private road, no trespassing." Marcus's car turned without hesitation. "That's not right." Isabella slammed on the brakes, and the convoy stopped behind her. Marcus's impatient voice came over the intercom, "What's wrong?" "The route is incorrect." Isabella stared at the GPS, her tone firm, "This is private property, we shouldn't trespass." Lena's laughter crackled over the intercom, tinged with guilt. "It's my friend's mountain villa. They said we could use it to rest, there's even a heated pool." The sun suddenly blazed fiercely, and Isabella felt dizzy, cold sweat sliding down her back. Sophia's handkerchief appeared in front of her just in time, carrying a faint lavender scent, the smell she'd grown up with. "Is the madam suffering from heatstroke?" the housekeeper asked, her voice laced with concern, deliberately raising her volume. Isabella seized the lifeline, following her lead, a little, dizzy, and I feel sick. She made her voice sound weak. Go on without me, I'll catch up once I feel better. As the convoy restarted, she counted the passing cars. Marcus's Mercedes didn't even slow down, as if her safety meant nothing to him. Once the last car disappeared around the bend, Isabella sat up straight, her eyes hardening with resolve. Sophia, give me the backup phone. The housekeeper pulled out the device quickly. Do you need to record or take photos? I've already turned on real-time sync, the legal team can see the footage. Isabella froze, looking into Sophia's knowing eyes, her throat suddenly tight. You knew all along. I only knew, the elderly housekeeper said, gently covering her trembling hand, her voice filled with sympathy, that the madam shouldn't have to bear this alone. Your mother instructed me before she passed to take good care of you, and never let you be wronged. The villa's iron gate stood ajar, covered in withered vines. Isabella walked slowly along the gravel path, faintly hearing Lena's coquettish complaint from the terrace. Do we really have to wait for her? I want to swim in the pool now. Marcus's reply made Isabella's blood run cold. Just a little longer. Once we get her uncle's guarantee contract and the authorization for her fund, she'll be useless to us. The white gauze curtains on the second-floor terrace fluttered in the wind, like a thin mist. Through the curtains, she saw Marcus's fingers tangled in Lena's hair, and the wedding ring on his ring finger glinted coldly in the sun. Isabella's nails dug deep into her palm, and the overlapping figures on the terrace burned into her retinas. Impossible to erase. The guarantee contract, she whispered, suddenly realizing why Marcus had grown so interested in her uncle's wine import-export business over the past 6 months. He hadn't wanted to help her, he'd wanted to use her, to drain her of everything. The acid churning in her stomach was more searing than the scorching sun, making it hard to stand. Footsteps crunched on the gravel path, and Isabella quickly ducked behind a nearby laurel tree. Lena's laughter grated on her ears, sharp and shrill. She actually believed the heatstroke excuse. She's so easy to fool. Marcus lit a cigarette, the flame illuminating the sneer on his lips. What was that noise? Lena turned abruptly, scanning the area warily. Marcus exhaled a ring of smoke, pulling her closer by the waist, his tone flippant. What could it be? Just a stray cat. His lips brushed Lena's ear, his voice intimate. Come on, let's go to the wine cellar and pick out a good bottle. I remember you said you liked 1989 Burgundy. The footsteps faded away, and Isabella's back was soaked with sweat. The silk dress clung to her skin, like a second layer of shameful skin. She stared at the silk scarf Lena had dropped on the terrace, the cream fabric fluttering in the wind, like a white flag of surrender, or a mockery of her persistence. Her phone vibrated in her pocket. It was a text from Sophia. Director Andre called. Marcus accessed all your fund statements last week and copied your seal. The shadow of the grapevines crawled slowly across the ground, like silently spreading despair. Isabella remembered 3 months ago, when Marcus had brought her a glass of warm milk to the bedroom, gently coaxing her to sign an authorization form. Back then, he'd stroked the wedding ring on her finger, saying, there should be no secrets between husband and wife. What's yours is mine, and what's mine is yours. Now she realized that tenderness had been nothing but an elaborate deception. The side door of the villa suddenly opened, and a marketing intern walked out carrying the picnic basket, looking around. Does anyone want iced lemonade? Lena asked me to bring it out for everyone. Isabella held her breath, hiding behind the tree. The intern glanced around in confusion, then set the basket down on the steps. Through the gaps in the wicker, she saw her carefully prepared truffle sauce had been opened, and a bright lipstick stain, definitely not hers, marked the silver spoon. The intercom suddenly burst into static, and Andre's voice came through, filled with genuine concern. Isabella. Are you okay? Shall I come back to get you? Her fingers trembled as she pressed the intercom button. Much better. I might need 10 more minutes. Don't wait for me. Do you need a doctor? The CFO asked. Lena said there's a resident family doctor at the villa. Lena's chuckle came from the background, dripping with schadenfreude. It's just heatstroke, some electrolyte water will fix it. No need to make such a fuss. Isabella turned off the intercom, her heart icy cold. Ants crawled along the picnic basket handle, carrying crumbs of bread, their path clear and determined, unlike her, who'd wandered lost in this wrong marriage for so long. Marcus had always called her a naive greenhouse rose, too delicate to withstand storms. Now she understood, roses have thorns, she'd just chosen to keep them hidden. The sound of clinking glasses came from the second floor. She looked up to see Marcus raising a glass to Lena, holding none other than the 1982 Chianti, the bottle he'd said he'd save for a most special moment. Her phone vibrated again, and Sophia sent a screenshot from the garage surveillance. Half of a cream LV suitcase was visible in the trunk of Marcus's Mercedes, the exact same one Lena had brought that morning. So they'd planned everything all along. Hot wind carrying gravel stung her face. Isabella bent down, picking up a sharp flint stone and scratching deep marks into the villa's exterior wall. The sound of crumbling plaster echoed like the shattering of her marriage. Clear and final, madam. Sophia appeared around the corner, holding a wet towel. You look unwell. Let's wipe your sweat. As Isabella took the towel, she felt something hard underneath, her backup phone. The screen lit up, showing an email attachment Andre had just sent, preliminary evidence of Marcus K's alleged transfer of marital assets. The attachment detailed Marcus's financial transactions over the past 6 months, including using her foundation's money to buy an apartment for Lena and funding a so-called cousin's business venture, multiple violations that eye in the shade of the grape arbor. The housekeeper's eyes were like two unwavering lights, steady and reliable. Shall I call a car back to Florence now? The legal team said they can initiate legal proceedings at any time. Laughter erupted in the distance, shattering the brief silence. Lena was mimicking an Italian accent, her tone exaggerated and pretentious, and Marcus's loud laughter cut at Isabella's nerves like a blunt knife. No, Isabella wiped the plaster dust from her palm, her eyes filled with unshakable resolve. Give me 20 minutes. I need to gather enough evidence. She opened her phone's photo album, pulling up a group photo from last year's Christmas party. In the picture, Marcus's hand rested casually on the back of her chair, but now she noticed his pinky finger was hooked around Lena's belt, just out of frame. The betrayal had started long ago, she'd just been blind to it. Sophia suddenly pulled her down into a squat, signaling her to be quiet. 3 colleagues from the marketing department walked out the front door, one waving a wine bottle, saying excitedly, "The boss said we have free time this afternoon. This place even has a heated pool. Lena said we're having a party tonight with the best wine." Once they were gone, the housekeeper handed her a pair of sunglasses. The back door leads to the wine cellar. You can take photos of the terrace from there. The cellar walls are soundproof, they won't hear you. Isabella put on the sunglasses, her reflection in the lenses showing the sun-faded rose bushes. The wilting petals looked just like the wedding photos hidden in her jewelry box, once vibrant, now long their luster. You know, she said softly, her voice hoarse, how my mother found out about my father's affair. Sophia shook her head as a dead leaf gently landed on her shoulder. The necklace he gave his mistress, Isabella pressed record on her phone, her tone calm yet resolute, was the same style as the one he gave my mother, only the diamond was a little smaller. When my mother found out, she didn't cry or make a scene. She collected evidence calmly and finally made him leave the marriage with nothing. She aimed the phone camera at the terrace. Now it's my turn. The wooden door to the wine cellar creaked open, stirring up a cloud of fine dust. Isabella walked slowly along the damp stone walls, the familiar scent of wine drifting from the oak barrels. It was a special reserve from her uncle's winery. Last year, Marcus had said he'd accidentally broken an entire case, but now it was clear that had been just another lie. Fragments of conversation drifted down through the gaps in the floorboards, clear enough to hear in the wine cellar. Lena's high heels tapped a cheerful rhythm on the floor, filled with eagerness. We can sign the guarantee contract on Monday. Then his uncle's shipping channels will be all ours. Keep your voice down, don't let anyone outside hear. Marcus's tone was affectionate, with a hint of greed. Once the funds arrive, I'll pay off your apartment loan first, then buy you a new sports car. Isabella's phone nearly slipped from her hand. Just last week, Marcus had looked troubled, saying the company was short on cash, and had refused her request to withdraw money from the foundation to fund poor students. Yet he'd been willing to spend a fortune on his mistress. Lena's laughter rang out like breaking glass, shrill and piercing. What about that old woman's foundation? What are you going to do with it? It should have been shut down long ago. Marcus's voice was clearly audible as he sipped his wine, filled with disdain. She runs around slums all day, funding those useless kids. Doesn't she think it's dirty? A cold chill seemed to run down Isabella's spine, making her shiver all over. That was her mother's legacy, the Children's Medical Foundation, her mother's lifelong passion. When Marcus had proposed, he'd sworn to help her carry on this kindness, but now he only wanted to destroy it. Don't worry, Marcus's shoes scraped across the floor in a slow circle. I had finance cooked the books, attributing the funding gap to failed investments. It'll be enough to get her sued, and then the foundation will be ours. Isabella's phone clattered onto the wine barrel with a sharp sound. Andre picked it up quickly. The screen was cracked, but it still worked. Madam, the housekeeper appeared from behind the wine racks, holding a backup phone. The legal team is waiting for you online. We can start the video call anytime. The video call screen lit up, showing 7 men in charcoal gray suits. Luca, the lead lawyer, raised his white eyebrows, his tone urgent. Miss Isabella, you finally used the emergency line. The address, which she hadn't heard in 10 years, caught in her throat. In the bottom right corner of the screen, her uncle was adding ice to his glass, his movements as elegant as if he were mixing a chemical reagent in a lab, but his eyes held a hint of concern. I need 3 things. Isabella heard her own voice, strange yet unshakably firm. First, freeze all my bank accounts immediately. Revoke all of Marcus's authorizations, including his management rights over the foundation. Luca nodded, taking notes quickly. Second, I want copies of every contract Marcus has handled in the past 6 months. Her gaze swept over the gaps in the terrace floor, her tone undeniable, especially those related to my uncle, most importantly, the shipping agreement signed last month. Her uncle suddenly set down his glass, his expression turning serious. You mean the agreement that was supposed to help 200 children? I always thought there was something off about it, but I couldn't find evidence. Especially that one. Isabella clenched her fists. Marcus had told her the deal would allow the foundation to help 200 more children, and she'd been overjoyed. Now she realized it had just been a ploy to gain her trust. A female lawyer in the third split screen suddenly spoke up, her tone brisk and efficient. We already have a chain of evidence proving Marcus transferred assets, but we need you to play along with a charade to give us 24 hours to set up the final operation. Another splash came from the pool, followed by Lena's boastful voice. The diamond bracelet Marcus gave me is so beautiful. He said it's a quarterly bonus, more than my entire year's salary. A charade? Isabella pulled off her sweat-soaked silk hairband, revealing her smooth forehead. How? Pretend you haven't noticed anything, keep going along with their plan. Luca pushed up his glasses, his tone serious. We need time to coordinate with the Financial Investigation Unit and the Tax Authority to gather complete evidence, ensuring we take him down in one strike, leaving him no chance to recover. Andre suddenly pulled her down into a squat, signaling her to be quiet. Through the gaps in the terrace floor, Marcus's leather shoes stopped directly above the wine cellar. Strange. His voice came through the wooden planks, laced with confusion. I thought I heard a noise in the wine cellar. Lena's high heels clicked closer, her tone impatient. Heard what? Are you feeling guilty? Afraid that fool might suddenly rush up here and catch us? Shut up. Marcus's footsteps faded away, his tone irritable. Go get my briefcase. I need to check the guarantee contract again, make sure there are no mistakes. Isabella's backup phone vibrated suddenly. It was a screenshot from the garage surveillance sent by Sophia. In the trunk of Marcus's Mercedes, a stack of blank letterhead with her signature was visible, along with her missing seal. He'd been preparing to forge documents all along, planning to drain her of everything. My God, Andre gasped, his voice filled with shock. He even prepared forged documents. He's been planning this for a long time. The female lawyer's voice came from the phone, laced with approval. it seems someone took matters into their own hands. Well done, that will buy us more time. Just a small counterattack. Sophia's reply was as calm as discussing the weather. I noticed her medical card said she's allergic to penicillin, and that Chianti has a small amount of penicillin added during brewing. It's just enough to trigger a mild allergic reaction, nothing life-threatening, but enough to keep her out of trouble. Chaos erupted on the terrace, and Marcus shouted angrily for a doctor, completely forgetting his heatstroke-stricken wife waiting alone at the bottom of the mountain. As Isabella listened to his voice, her heart felt nothing but utter disappointment. 24 hours, Luca's keyboard tapping sounded like a sharp knife. This time tomorrow, he'll be on his knees begging for your forgiveness, but I know you won't give him the chance. Isabella found the emergency exit at the back of the wine cellar. As the iron door creaked open, hot wind mixed with the scent of roses rushed in. In the distance, a black car approached the villa silently. It was her uncle's private driver. That's, André asked in confusion, your private driver. The housekeeper handed her a pair of sunglasses, hiding the emotion in her eyes. Shall we leave now? André suddenly grabbed her shoulder, his tone suggesting, wait, don't you want to see him crumble? Leaving now would be a waste. A heavy thud came from upstairs, followed by Marcus's roar, Isabella. Come out here. Are you up to something? Isabella smoothed the wrinkles in her skirt. The burgundy silk looked like congealed blood in the dim light. She turned on her phone's recording function, her tone cold, not yet. Let's hear what other lies he can come up with. The entire villa suddenly lost power. As the emergency lights flickered on, Marcus's figure appeared at the wine cellar door. He was out of breath, his tie askew, his hair messy, all trace of his usual elegance gone. So there you are, he stared at Isabella, his eyes filled with anger and a hint of unease. Happy now? Enjoying watching Lena collapse? Isabella pressed the record button, her tone icy. What should I be happy about? That you brought your mistress on the team-building trip I planned? That you secretly transferred my assets? Or that you're trying to destroy my mother's foundation? Cut the act. Marcus tried to rush forward, but André held him back firmly. The frozen assets, the photos, you did this. You knew all along, didn't you? Sophia held up her phone silently, displaying Marcus and Lena's chat history. Messages like, once we get the old woman's money, we'll go on vacation to the Maldives, and, that foundation's money is so easy to steal, the old woman is such a fool, were clearly visible. Marcus's face turned ashen, all the strength draining from his body. You spied on me. You actually spied on me. Just checking the accounts, Isabella waved the tablet in her hand, displaying the details of his asset transfers, like this €500,000 jewelry purchase, paid to Lena's sister, for the necklace she's wearing now. Which used to be my missing emerald earrings. And this €2 million transfer to your cousin, to buy the apartment Lena's living in. The sound of shattering glass came from downstairs, followed by Lena's scream, my bag. It's a limited edition. Who touched it? An investigator's voice came over the intercom, authoritative and firm. Mr. Marcus K., we're from the Florence Financial Investigation Unit. We're officially notifying you that we've received a report accusing you of transferring marital assets, commercial fraud, and embezzling charitable funds. This is a search warrant. We need to take your computer and phone for questioning. Marcus's knees buckled, and he almost fell to the floor, his tone pleading, ISA, we can start over. I know I was wrong, I'll never contact Lena again. Can't we go back to how we were? Using the foundation's money to support your mistress, money laundering through my uncle's channels, and now you want to start over? Isabella laughed, her tone dripping with sarcasm. Marcus, do you really think I'm still that easy to fool? André spoke up suddenly, his tone cold. Just received word, the company's board has voted to remove you as CEO. You're no longer in charge. Marcus's phone buzzed repeatedly, lighting up with a dozen messages. The top one read, mortgage default notice, followed by collection notices from banks. You ruined me. His eyes were bloodshot, his tone frantic. If my family's company hadn't invested in yours, you'd never have the life you have now. And now you're stabbing me in the back. Isabella finally laughed, a sound of relief and finality. Invested? You mean the money I transferred to you through a third party? That was my mother's inheritance. You only got where you are by borrowing my family's resources. Don't you remember the prenuptial agreement? The White Rose Foundation's rule: if you betray the marriage, you leave with nothing, and all assets belong to me. Marcus froze, as if struck by lightning. Of course he'd remembered the prenuptial agreement, but his lawyer had called it a symbolic clause, and he'd never taken it seriously. He'd never imagined it would be the final blow that crushed him. Sophia pulled open the wine cellar's back door, her tone respectful. The car is ready, madam. It's time to go. Isabella glanced one last time at Marcus, who had collapsed to the floor. His Armani suit was stained with wine and dust, like a splattered masterpiece, messy and defeated. Oh, and one more thing, she said softly as she turned to leave, the divorce papers will be delivered to your hotel tonight. Make sure to sign them. If you refuse, the lawyers will file a lawsuit immediately. Not only will you get nothing, but you'll also face legal consequences. Mountain wind carrying rose petals rushed into the wine cellar, bringing the scent of freedom. As Isabella stepped through the iron gate, she heard Marcus's desperate shout, "Those goods are worth 20 million. You can't seize them. They're my life's work." The sound of the black car's door closing cut him off, and cut off their 10-year marriage. The driver handed her a glass of iced lemonade, his tone respectful. "Back to Florence, miss?" The long-unused address brought a sting to her eyes. In the rearview mirror, the villa shrank to a small dot in the sunset, like a chapter that had long since ended. "No," Isabella rolled down the window, letting the fresh air rush in. "I want to see the sunset in Tuscany." Her phone lit up suddenly. Luca had sent a new message. "Lena's medical records show she's 8 weeks pregnant. The child is Marcus's." Isabella stared at the screen, feeling nothing but calm. Outside the car window, a flock of white doves flew over the vineyards, their wings beating out a rhythm of freedom. She turned off the screen, tapping her fingers gently on the leather seat. 8 weeks pregnant, that was exactly when she'd started planning this Tuscany trip. While she'd been trying to save their marriage, he'd already been having a child with another woman. "Miss," the driver glanced at her in the rearview mirror, concerned, "we're approaching Florence's historic center. Shall we find a place for you to rest?" Isabella rolled down the window, letting the wind carry the chimes of Santa Maria del Fiore Cathedral, rich with history and the promise of new beginnings. At an outdoor cafe on the corner, Marcus paced back and forth, running his hands through his hair. His suit was wrinkled like a rag, completely lacking his usual confidence. "Pull over," she said suddenly. Marcus looked up, spotting the black car, and rushed toward it like a wolf seeing prey. His tie hung askew, sweat glistened on his forehead in the sun, and his leather shoes were caked in mud. One heel was even chipped, as if he'd broken it while fleeing. "Isa," he banged on the window, his tone urgent, "we need to talk. Please, give me another chance." Isabella rolled down the window just 3 centimeters. "Talk about what?" "How you used the foundation's money to buy your mistress an apartment. Or how you forged documents to drain my assets." Marcus stuck his fingers in the gap, his tone pleading. "It was all a misunderstanding. Lena threatened me. She said she'd expose the company's tax issues if I didn't help her. I had no choice." "Is the 8-week pregnancy also a misunderstanding?" Isabella waved her phone, displaying Lena's prenatal test report. "Marcus, aren't you tired of lying yet?" Marcus's face turned pale as a sheet. His lips trembled, and suddenly he dropped to his knees on the scorching asphalt. "I'm sorry, Isa. For the sake of our 10 years of marriage, please give me another chance. I'll make Lena get rid of the baby, we can start over." Patrons at the cafe stared, whispering among themselves. As Isabella watched Marcus's pitiful state, she felt no sympathy, only complete disappointment. 10 years, she laughed, her tone mocking. "Do you remember how many lies you've told me in those 10 years? You forgot the vows we made on our wedding day, the trust my mother placed in you, and how many children those embezzled foundation funds could have helped." Marcus grabbed the car door handle, his tone frantic. "I can explain. That child isn't mine. Lena tricked me. I didn't even know she was pregnant. Spare me. Isabella pulled a divorce agreement from her bag and threw it in front of him. Sign it. Marcus's hands shook as he opened the agreement. His pupils contracted sharply when he saw the property division clause, his tone disbelieving. This can't be. I built this company from scratch, I deserve at least half. Built it with my uncle's startup capital and my mother's connections. Isabella twirled the ring on her finger, her tone calm yet firm. Why should you get half? Need me to remind you of the equity agreement you signed? You only own 10% of the company, and that 10% was a gift from my mother. Now that you've betrayed the marriage, even that 10% will be revoked, per the agreement. Camera shutters clicked suddenly from across the street. Several tabloid journalists held up telephoto lenses, snapping photos frantically. Marcus instinctively covered his face, his tone panicked. Stop taking photos. No photos. Now you care about your reputation. Isabella rolled up the window, her tone cold. Sign the papers, and the photos of you and Lena, along with the evidence of asset transfer, won't end up on your investors' desks. If you don't sign, I have no problem letting everyone see your true colors. Marcus's hands shook violently, like he had Parkinson's. He stared at the words, leave with nothing, on the agreement, his Adam's apple bobbing, his tone pleading, just leave me an apartment, please. I'm penniless now, I have nowhere to live. Isabella glanced behind him. Lena was peeking out from behind a newsstand, her baby bump already visible under her tight dress, her face filled with anxiety and resentment. Sure, she smiled suddenly, her tone playful, you can have the vacation house on Lake Como. Marcus's eyes lit up, then narrowed with suspicion. No strings attached. Of course there are strings. Isabella nodded toward Lena, her tone mocking. Take your true love to live there, and take good care of her and your child. Oh, and I almost forgot, that vacation house is already mortgaged to the bank. If you don't make the payments on time, the bank will seize it. Lena rushed over, grabbing Marcus by the shoulders, her tone frantic. Don't believe her. That house is worthless. You investigated me. You actually investigated me. I investigate everyone who tries to take advantage of me. Lena's false eyelashes were smudged with tears, her makeup running. Did you really think I cared about an old man like you? I only wanted your money. Now that you're broke, I'm not going to waste my time with you. As Isabella watched them turn on each other, she suddenly felt nauseous. She tapped the partition, signaling the driver to go. But Marcus lunged forward, clinging to the window. Just one more chance, ISA. I really am sorry. Tears mixed with sweat dripped onto the agreement, smudging the ink. I'll cut ties with Lena immediately, I'll turn myself in. I'll return all the assets, just please forgive me. Lena screamed, lunging at him and pulling his hair. You bastard. You want to abandon me? That's your child. You have to take responsibility. The crowd around them pulled out their phones, filming and pointing. Isabella slapped the agreement in Marcus's face, her tone firm. 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, at the law firm. If you don't show up, the court will enforce it. The tires screeched as the car pulled away slowly. In the rearview mirror, Marcus knelt in the middle of the road while Lena hit him with her bag. Coffee cups shattered on the ground, the brown stains looking just like their ruined lives. Isabella rolled down the window and tossed the 10-year-old wedding ring into the Arno River. It glinted silver as it arced through the air before sinking into the water, disappearing forever. She remembered their wedding night, when Marcus had held her hand and said the ring would bind her heart forever. Now it seemed nothing but a ridiculous lie. Her phone vibrated. Luca had sent another message. Marcus's investors have all pulled out. His company's stock has plummeted, and it's facing bankruptcy. The tax authority has also launched an investigation and found serious tax evasion. She replied, pack up the Van Gogh sunflowers from his office, that was my mother's dowry. Don't let him damage it. Also, find me the best divorce lawyer. I want him to pay for what he's done. The Tuscan sunset painted the cobblestones gold, warm and bright. Isabella told the driver to stop at Ponte Vecchio, then got out and bought a pistachio ice cream. As the cone touched her hand, she realized she was humming a Tuscan folk song her mother had loved. Back to the winery, the driver asked. Isabella licked the melting cream, her tone filled with anticipation. No, first to the foundation. She looked across the river at the children's hospital, her eyes soft. The children have waited long enough. I need to see them. The ice cream melted quickly in the sun, just like some seemingly unbreakable lies, which couldn't withstand the test of time. As the last hint of sweetness faded from her tongue, Isabella felt something hard in her bag. It was the car keys Sophia had slipped to her earlier. Attached to the keys was a new keychain, engraved with a small white rose, with an almost imperceptible mark along the edge, the unique engraving from her mother's ring. The driver glanced at her in the rearview mirror, his tone respectful. Miss, we're at the foundation's new location. Stop here. She pushed open the car door. Hot wind mixed with the scent of grapevines rushed in. At the end of the gravel path, workers were removing the old sign, and Andre stood on a ladder directing them, a little higher on the left. Perfect. The CFO turned, almost falling off the ladder when he saw her, his tone a mix of surprise and concern. Good God, what are you doing here? The doctor said you need to rest. After everything you've been through, you should take it easy. I've rested enough. Isabella looked up at the newly hung bronze plaque. The words, White Rose Children's Medical Foundation, shone brightly in the scorching sun, her mother's life's work, and her future path. Sophia rushed out of the building, holding a glass of iced lemonade. The madam shouldn't be out in the hot sun, you might get heatstroke. Call me Isabella. She took the glass, the ice clinking softly. The coolness spread down her throat. Have the divorce papers arrived? The housekeeper smiled faintly, her tone warm. They were delivered to the winery this morning, along with a 20-page handwritten letter from Marcus begging for forgiveness. He said he's willing to compensate for all losses if you drop the charges. Andre climbed down from the ladder, leaning in to whisper, you'll never guess the latest. Lena leaked to the media yesterday that Marcus evaded taxes and embezzled money from her to buy luxury goods. Now they're tearing each other apart. It's quite the show. Hush, Sophia interrupted, nodding toward the opposite side of the road. There are journalists taking photos. Isabella narrowed her eyes, recognizing reporters from the Florence tabloid. Let them take photos. The truth will come out sooner or later. The tabloid's editor contacted me, offering 50,000 euros for an exclusive interview about your relationship. Andre rolled his eyes, his tone disdainful. I already declined, they're just after clicks. Workers began testing the automatic doors. The mechanical hum scared away the sparrows in the trees. Isabella suddenly noticed that the foundation's exterior walls were covered in clematis, her mother's favorite flower. The lavender blooms opened in the sun, beautiful and resilient. Your uncle had them planted, Sophia explained, following her gaze. He said your mother used to pick these flowers and pin them to her dress when she was a child. Seeing them is like seeing your mother. Isabella's fingers brushed the petals, cool and soft. She remembered Marcus had mocked the flowers as weeds, insisting on replacing them all with roses. Now she realized, weeds were hardier than roses, better able to withstand storms. Oh, and, Andre lowered his voice, his tone triumphant, Marcus tried to file for bankruptcy protection at the bank this morning, but they rejected him. Now he's not only penniless but also drowning in debt, with creditors chasing him everywhere. Sophia handed her a tablet. The screen showed Marcus's company website, a 404 error page. The latest comment was from Lena's anonymous account, fraud. Give me back my youth. Marcus is a selfish bastard. How lively. Isabella handed the empty glass back to the housekeeper, her tone relieved. Have the medical equipment been installed? When can the children come for free screenings? Andre puffed out his chest, his tone proud. The imported German CT machine arrived this morning and has been calibrated. The children can come for free screenings next week. I've contacted the children's hospital, they'll arrange shuttle buses. The foreman suddenly approached, asking for instructions. Miss Isabella, the door sensor has been calibrated. Shall we test it? Isabella walked toward the brand new automatic door. The sensor beeped softly, and the door slid open slowly. As it opened, 24 children in wheelchairs poured out of the lobby, holding colorful crayon drawings, their faces bright with smiles. Surprise, the leading boy, missing a front tooth, said excitedly, "Uncle Andre said you'd be here today. We made drawings for you." Isabella knelt down, and the boy carefully handed her his drawing. The paper was covered in a bright, wobbly sun drawn with highlighters, with a group of children holding hands underneath. Next to them were the words, "Thank you, Aunt Isabella." The handwriting was childish, but filled with sincerity. "This is," Isabella's eyes grew moist, "when you were hospitalized with the flu last month, they came to the hospital every day to ask the nurses when you'd get better," Sophia said softly, her tone gentle. "They worked on these drawings for days, saying they wanted to give them to the bravest hero." Isabella felt a raised texture on the back of the paper. Turning it over, she found a rainbow-colored button glued there. The boy blushed, explaining, "This is the prettiest button from my shirt. I want to give it to you, thank you for helping us." A screech of brakes suddenly came from across the street. A familiar Mercedes swerved unsteadily to the curb. Marcus rolled down the window, his hair messy, his face unshaven, his tone frantic. "Isa. We need to talk. You can't let me die like this." The children stepped back in fear, their smiles fading. Isabella stood up, placing herself between the children and Marcus, her tone cold, "You're scaring the children." But Marcus got out of the car, pushing past the security guards and rushing to the door, his tone pleading, "Just 5 minutes. The bank is going to seize the Lake Como house, it's my last asset. Please, help me. Your last chance to lie to me." Isabella's tone was mocking. "Marcus, you still don't understand. You're in this mess because of your own choices. You betrayed your marriage, embezzled charitable funds, defrauded your partners. This is what you deserve." The journalists behind the trees raised their cameras excitedly, snapping photos frantically. Marcus suddenly dropped to his knees on the scorching asphalt, his tone desperate. "For the sake of our 10 years together, please help me. I'll never do it again. Do you remember what today is?" Isabella interrupted, her tone sad. Marcus opened his mouth, sweat dripping into his eyes, but he had no answer. "Today is my mother's death anniversary." She turned toward the door, her tone firm, "And 3 years ago today, you took Lena to Venice for a vacation. You used my mother's credit card to buy her expensive jewelry. From that day on, there was no longer any bond between us." The automatic door opened again, and the children gathered around her, pulling at her skirt. The boy with the missing tooth asked quietly, "Is the bad guy gone? Will he hurt Aunt Isabella?" Isabella looked outside. Marcus was scrambling to pick up the scattered papers he'd dropped. Lena's prenatal test report was blown under the car wheels, crushed to pieces. "Never be afraid of bad people," she patted the boy's head, her tone gentle yet firm. "Just remember, kindness isn't weakness. Stand up for what's right, and bad people can't hurt you." "White roses never fade," the children shouted in unison, their voices clear and loud. Andre grinned behind them, making a peace sign. "I taught them that slogan. White roses were your mother's favorite flower, and they're the symbol of the foundation, representing resilience and hope." Amidst the laughter, Isabella felt the car keys in her pocket. On the new keychain, the white rose's petals glimmered in the sun, like her mother's smile, warm and steadfast. "Sophia," she suddenly asked, her tone filled with anticipation, "is the winery hiring test drivers recently? For the new sightseeing vehicles they purchased?" The housekeeper winked, her tone knowing. "Yes, madam." "Are you thinking of, I want to find a test driver who can sing Tuscan folk songs?" Isabella looked toward the rolling vineyards in the distance, her eyes filled with longing. "I heard September is harvest season, when the vineyards are most beautiful. I want to take the children to the winery, let them experience the beauty of nature." Andre leaned in, his tone playful. "What a coincidence, there's an applicant tomorrow. He's a top student from the University of Milan's agricultural department. He not only knows about wine but also sings many Tuscan folk songs. I've seen his resume, he's excellent. Then let him come for an interview. Isabella's face broke into a long-absent smile, warm and bright like the Tuscan sunset. Workers began testing the fountain. Water droplets splashed onto her silk blouse, leaving tiny wet spots. Isabella didn't move, letting the sun dry the spots into faint marks, just like the clematis on her mother's skirt when she was a child, natural and beautiful. She knew the past was gone. The betrayal and hurt would become badges of growth. The road ahead was long, but she would carry on her mother's legacy, guard the foundation, and help more children. Like the white rose, she would bloom resiliently through the storms. The sunset in Tuscany was beautiful, but even more beautiful was the hope of rebirth.